Welcome to Under Heaven, the podcast where we glorify God and celebrate the beautiful stories of women whose lives have been transformed by His goodness and grace. I'm your host, Trish, and each week we share real conversations about faith, hope, and purpose. This is a place for encouragement and truth, where every story matters and every listener is welcome. No matter where you are in your journey, let's grow together under heaven. Well, welcome to Under Heaven Podcast. I'm your host, Trish, and I am so glad that you've joined us today. One of the things I enjoy most about these podcasts is hearing the stories from ordinary people who've walked through some extraordinary circumstances. And you know, life has its chapters. It has the good, the funny ones, the heartbreaking ones, all of that. And today's guest certainly has her story. Lynn Levine is creator of Lynn Logic, and she has a multimedia platform where she shares her life with honesty, humor, and authenticity. Lynn describes herself as someone who leads with lived experience, resilience, and real talk. And I have to say, I have talked with Lynn, and I love talking with you. You are so awesome. So we are going to go forward today and just say, welcome, Lynn Levine.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I have learned so much about you in just a couple conversations, and I love to talk with different people from different places around the world and different experiences. And that's one thing that Under Heaven Podcast is about. It's to show women who have gone through things, but hey, come out of them or are continuing to come out of them, as some of us are still learning and growing.
Yes, yes, very, very true.
Lynn, before we get started, I would love, oh, your little friend there is sleeping so well. I hate to disturb him,
Oh, no,
but you
no,
want
no,
to tell
he's
us,
fine. Yeah,
tell us
no,
about
he's
your
fine.
four-footed friend.
Okay, so he's not sleeping, he's pretending to sleep.
Okay.
So this is Boogie. And he doesn't really like to be on camera. He's very camera shy, which is an odd thing. So Boogie is number one thing, Boogie is deaf. So I rescued Boogie when he was about 3 years old, actually 2 months prior to my husband passing. And Boogie's birth date is my late husband and I's 5-year wedding anniversary. He was born on 11/21/2015. I'm sorry,
Oh,
11/21/2020. My late husband and I were married on 11/21/2015.
okay.
So, there's some symbolism obviously there. I mean, I got him at the time. And it was funny because his previous owner, he was on his way being surrendered, and I had been wanting a dog. I'd kind of put it out in the universe. I'm like, I want a dog. And a friend of mine got a call and was like, hey, I heard about this dog. He's on his way to being surrendered. Do you want him? And I was like, tell me a little bit. And she told me that he was a small dog. And I was like, good, perfect. And I was like, I'll take him. So I called my late husband and I said, hi, I'm getting a dog. And he goes, haha, sure you are. And I showed up at home with the dog because, he knew it was possible. He's lucky that I never brought home a duck. Um, and he kept the entire night. He was sitting there snuggling with Boogie, going, he's so cute. And then he would flip me off. And then he would be like, oh my God, but he's so cute. And then he would give me angry faces. And then he'd be like, I mean, completely just loved Boogie. And Boogie himself is a character. Number one thing, Boogie's full name, because I do this to all the animals that I own have convoluted and complicated names. His full name is Boogie Woogie Wonderland of Company B.
I love it. I
Full
love it.
name. Full name. I had a cat named we called Fred, and Fred's full name was New Fred Zorro Furioso Funderburk.
Wow.
And
I
they're,
love
and
that.
I make my animals weird. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that. I don't know if you do. Like, if you've got weird pets, like if your pets seem a little quirky, they're just like you. You're quirky. And I get that. I accept that. The other day he was growling at a smell. Um,
Well, but he can see though, right? So he could
he
see
can
and he could
see perfectly
smell.
fine. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Um, for a dog that's this short, because he's under 10 pounds, he's like 9.8, under 10 pounds, and he has maybe 4.5 inch long legs. I've never seen a dog trip so much.
Oh.
But here's the thing, I trip a lot. Like, I fall up the stairs constantly. Like, I bang into walls. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm lucky I'm squishy because I would have so many more bruises if I was skinnier. I have no spatial awareness, and neither does Boogie.
Wow, isn't that something? That is something. I'll have to pay more attention to my dog. And now that you mention it, I do think that my dog Sophie, she's 10 years old. She'll be 11 this month. Oh, she's probably already turned 11. At the beginning of the 4th, I think it's her birthday. And she is, she's one of those, she'll lay next to you, but she doesn't want to cuddle. She's not the cuddler. And I'm kind of like that too, you know? I like to be next to my husband, but I don't need the arm around my neck, you know?
I don't cuddle with that many people. I mean, even with my late husband, I mean, we were in separate bedrooms, but I cuddle with Boogie like he's a teddy bear. And
Oh,
he is so comfortable. I mean, he's deaf, and so that extra security, having me that him being that close to me, he will pass out. I mean, he's completely passed out now.
okay. So you have had so many experiences. I'm not sure where you would like to start. You've had a blood clot that you got just days after you got married, and you lost your spouse. All kinds of things have happened. Where would you like to start with your story?
Um, I mean, I'd like to start at where we are now and go with, the past 13 years. I'm
Hmm.
47 now, and I have a new view and everything, but over the past 13 years, I've been tested. I've gone through absolute hell, to be honest with you. Um, I did with the blood clot in my brain. That happened 2 days after my wedding. Now, it was caused by birth control pills. At 19, yeah, at 19, I was prescribed birth control pills because I had PCOS,
Hmm.
polycystic ovarian syndrome. And
Okay.
so rather than, they wanted to make sure that they could get me to have a working baby maker.
Hmm.
And so birth control pills it was.
Hmm.
Almost instantly, I started getting chronic headaches, migraine attacks that were almost semi stroke like. I once had a headache for 4 years. 4 years at a headache. Hmm. And I kept going through. I was in pain for 17 years before my blood clot. That's the behind the scenes story. Is I was prescribed 27 different types of medications, from antipsychotics to antidepressants to anti-seizure to
Hmm.
shots to nasals to everything to try and get rid of my migraines. And so the blood clot, the morning of, I had been having headaches really bad about a month before the wedding. I just assumed it was normal stress. I was
Yeah,
like, well,
that's what I
surely
would
I'm
think.
just, yeah, surely I'm just stressed out. It's my mother-in-law's fault, which, is always a possibility.
Hmm.
But 2 days after the wedding, I had woke up around 6 a.m. and my head was killing me. Like, I mean, I've had headache pain before. I know pain in the brain, or not technically in the brain, since the brain doesn't feel pain, but that pressure on your skull. I know that kind of pain, and I was just, my head was hurting, and I couldn't find my glasses. but I also couldn't remember the word for glasses. I only remembered the word sunglasses. And so Drew had woken up and he was like, "What are you looking for?" And I was like, "My sunglasses. I can't find my sunglasses." And I just kept talking about my sunglasses. And he looks over and he's like, "Let's go to the hospital." And I was like, "That sounds like fun." Um,
On our honeymoon, right?
right. That was my
Oh,
honeymoon. And so, at that time of the morning, it was like I think it was a Monday or a Tuesday, probably a Tuesday, because I've never been able to handle Tuesdays. Um, we got admitted very quickly, and the doctor was asking me questions like, how long has this been going on? Um, things of that nature. And I looked at him as he was asking me these questions, and I looked over at Drew. I had lost every word in my brain. I couldn't respond. I had full awareness of what was going on, but I could not respond. I still remember that feeling. I had no words. I couldn't find the words at all. That had happened during my migraine attacks countless times, losing words. My first migraine attack, I forgot the word cheesecake. So that was, but I had lost all the words, and then I blacked out, which is a good thing I did, because apparently I went ballistic after that. Like I was ripping the IVs out of my arm. Like I'm glad I don't remember any of this, cuz 12 or 14 hours later, I woke up in a hospital bed. No idea what had gone on, nothing at all. And the neurologist came in, a few hours later, and she goes, "You had a blood clot, and you have a blood clot in your brain, and it's caused by birth control pills." Without a doubt. There was no question at all. So here's what it was. It was a CVST, I think is the name of it. Central venous something thrombosis. I can
okay.
never remember if it's CSVT or CVST, because one looks like the word cyst to me.
Mhm.
So I got off of birth control pills immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
um I had asked about 4 months prior to this happening if I could stop taking the birth control pills, because I was on so many meds for the PCOS and for all that stuff that I was just tired of it. I made the choice to get off the PCOS meds because my body was not taking them well. It was a very common medicine called metformin. I was on it for
Oh,
like 7 years, and it's a hard medicine to be on.
yeah.
And I never even got up to my dosage, like my actual prescripted amount, because it was too difficult for me. And so I went off of that medicine, and so I was really wanting to get off of the birth control pills and just kind of let my body do whatever it's going to do. Because all
Yeah.
I've been told since 19 that that my uterus and all my workings don't work properly, but I've never felt bad. I only felt bad when they treated me for it.
Yeah.
Other
I
than
believe
that,
that.
it was great. And so, at 30, I had asked for a hysterectomy. At 30, I did. I asked for a hysterectomy, and I was denied because my husband may want to have kids someday. Here's the thing, I was single at the time. Single. A future person that doesn't even exist in my life had more power than I do. I thought it was funny. I was like, okay, let's see how this plays out. Well, a few years after my blood clot in my brain, I developed adenomyosis, which is when your uterine lining sheds and rebuilds at the same time. I started clotting from my uterus. 5 months. 10 clots a day for 5 months. And my OBGYN explained that the pain that I felt was the same as a miscarriage. And I had 10 a day for 5 months.
Oh,
Yes. They gave me three options when the adenomyosis started. They said, number one, you can do hormone therapy. Well, that's not an option for me. I can never take synthetic hormones again. That's what got me on the birth control pills. So that's not an option. Number two was the DNC. This was where they scrape you. And
Yes.
he said to me this exact sentence. He goes, the DNC would get rid of the bleeding, but not the pain. Who's going to sign up for that? I was like, no. And then I don't even think he got the full word of hysterectomy out of his mouth when he said that that was option three. I was like, that one.
That
I was
one,
like, that one
yes.
right there. I was like, yes. I mean, the surgery sucked. The recovery was horrible. Um, but since it's been amazing. Like, I finally feel comfortable in my own body after having, so many years of synthetics and drugs, given to me and me feeling like I had to take them. Otherwise,
Mhm.
I was going to get diabetes and possibly lose limbs and die. Like that's
Yeah.
like I got feared into taking them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and yeah, so no, I don't, yeah. So,
Wow.
and it was 2 days after the wedding, and we spent our honeymoon in the hospital. I was in there. Um, I went to work about a week and a half afterward, and I'm an
Oh, wow.
accountant.
Okay. Got them numbers
Yep,
going.
lots and lots of numbers, and I had to close out the month, and I got stuck on things, and my brain didn't work well with math, and there was a lot of things I had to relearn. I had to relearn how to color. Like color in the lines of pictures I couldn't do. I mean, the treatment was about 6 months long. And I had a clean MRI afterwards. And what
Good.
saved what saved me in the hospital is that when you are admitted to the hospital, the one thing that they'll prescribe you first are blood thinners because it
Hmm.
prevents bed sores. So they don't know how
Oh.
long, because I was out, like went like
Mhm.
unconscious. And so immediately they don't know how long I'm going to be unconscious. So immediately prescribe blood thinners to prevent bed sores. As someone who was suffering from a blood clot, that was the exact thing that I needed. I
Oh,
needed my
okay.
blood to thin out. And even the
Okay.
neurologist had told me the location of the blood clot was so small and minute that they were very lucky to have found it.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And so, I mean, I used to say, I still do say this though. My late husband saved my life. 100%.
Taking you to the
100%.
hospital.
Make it going, I think we need to go to the hospital and forcing me to go.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah.
It is very important for for people to know the signs to look for when something is happening, not to
Mhm.
think, well, we'll wait and see what it's like tomorrow. It's like, no, let's
Right.
get it taken care of now.
Right.
So,
Well, and with headaches are actually incredibly difficult, especially to diagnose the source of the headache. For instance, once you have a migraine, you're more likely to get more migraines. But if you've never had one, you're not going to get them. It's almost like once your brain is introduced to a headache or to a migraine or to that pain, it's like, oh yeah, now we're going to do that. It sees
mhm.
it as almost a normal thing almost
Oh,
instantly. And so my brain's reaction every time was to go to headache, to shout out in pain, or for, lack of a better word. But people who don't have headaches, who've never had a headache, who've never had a migraine, yeah,
can't
lucky
understand.
you. Lucky you.
Yeah. Yes. I have had my body has gone through seasons where I've had migraines ever since I was young. And I would get him, my father-in-law lived with us for 10 years. And so I would have these migraines and he'd be like, he couldn't understand, oh, you got a headache. Yeah. But one day he had a headache, not a migraine, but a
Not a
headache. And
migraine, just a simple
he's
headache.
like, oh, now I know what you're talking about,
Right?
So,
It's
oh,
those
it's
pains
awful.
that, well, it's those pains that you can't see the wound. I
Hmm.
have a lot of those types of scars in my body. You can't see a wound. I survived a blood clot. There's no wound. Besides having the hysterectomy, I mean, I got two little incisions. There's no wound there.
Right.
4 months ago, I had to have an emergency laparoscopic appendectomy. I had
Appendectomy.
an
Ah. Oh,
appendicitis at 47
oh my
or
gosh.
46. It was before my birthday.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yes. And so now, I'm like, all right, what else are we taking out? Come
Let's
on. All right, come
say
on,
no
reel it up.
more. Oh my
And
goodness.
that pain was worse than my blood clot in my brain. That pain was definitely worse than the blood clot in my brain. I mean, I was cussing up a storm in the waiting room at the hospital. I felt so bad. So bad. I even apologized to the children. Unfortunately, in my apology, I had a cuss word in it, so it didn't really, mean much. But yeah, I've never felt pain like that. And at one point, they were finally like, "We're just gonna close the door of the room you're in." I was like, "That's fair. Can you give me
Yes.
something for the pain?"
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. That's something. Well, what can you tell the women that you have gotten out of this? How has it changed you having experienced such trauma to your body and everything, and yet you're here today and you can laugh about it and say, "What next?"
Because
What?
that's just a Tuesday for me. I mean, with the amount of trauma that I've gone through, I mean, I'm a widow, I'm a widow of a
Tell us.
cross-dressing alcoholic.
Oh my gosh, yes, and you weren't married for long and he passed away
No,
and
he
oh my
so
goodness.
so Drew and I first met when we were 17. We worked at Fuddruckers together. I don't know if anyone remembers that. He used to have the most amazing cheese sauce. And then what was odd is that both of us were ravers in the 90s. So, we had literally been in the same place at the same time so many different times throughout our life. And then we met through a dating app when we were both 32 because we were the same age. We were 2 months, 2 days apart.
Okay.
I was older. I was older by 2 months, 2 days. I was the older woman. Um, and we met at 32. And I mean, the first night we talked, it was 6 hours on the phone. The second night we talked, it
Oh,
was 6 hours on the phone. And then we went on our first date. And I mean, it lasted for so long. And we laid in the bed of his truck just talking and staring at the stars. Like it was one of those
mhm.
dates. He had
Wow.
pretended to like sushi to impress me because I love sushi.
Okay.
Love sushi. And so I didn't know he was pretending, but it was his first time eating it. And I ordered the biggest chunks of raw fish that you could have gotten, and that was what I wanted. I
Oh
was like,
my.
we're not even going in soft here. There's not a bunch of rice or anything. It was just
Yeah.
straight raw tuna.
Oh
um
wow.
with watermelon and little tacos, but still so good. Um, but we had a great first date. He kissed me at the beginning of our first date because I was nervous. We
Hmm.
hadn't met, online dating and all that.
Yeah.
You're like, you're not gonna like me from real life. And he was like, you know what? I'll just kiss you at the beginning to get you to calm your nerves. And so he did. He literally kissed me at the beginning of the date, and then we went on about the date. And I was like, you know what? That 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 was my person. We
Yes.
got along together. We had so many laughs. I mean, the amount of times that we would just laugh. I do talk about 13 years of hell because it wasn't all good, and I kept having to be reminded of his disease and his demons. So yes, I can laugh one day, I can laugh one morning and then have to deal with his demons in the evening. But I just appreciated the good times when they came. I had decided with Drew that I was going to give him unconditional love. I had already decided that when we got married, I was his wife. I stood by my man. I stayed loyal to him. I was his wife, and it was not fun. It was, I like to say this a lot. just because it really explains it, that I loved my husband. Totally did. Didn't like him, but I loved him.
You loved him. Yeah.
I loved him. And I gave him that unconditional love. And so, when he started trying to deal with his demons, we would talk about them. Um, you know, he had done so many recordings through the marriage because he was very, very aware of the fact that he was an alcoholic. There was no there was nothing, there was no denial. Denial had long since passed. He was very much, I'm an alcoholic. And with that disease, to die from it, you have to give up every day for a while. And he did. He gave up every day for a while. And I know Drew well enough to know, because he actually said this sentence to me, that he had said, I want to stay in your life until I think that me being out of it would be better for you. He made decisions for me all the time, obviously. I mean, being with an addict is very much like being in a cult of one. But I will tell you, the one thing I never questioned about that man is whether or not he loved me. Not one day. I just had a problem because he didn't love himself.
That's so
So,
sad. And then we're gonna have to wrap this one up, but I want you to come back. Then what happened? How did he pass away? It was from the drinking? Was he
yes.
okay?
So about 6 months prior to him passing, he had gone to a doctor, and I clocked this, and I never even got what anything about that doctor visit or anything, because it wouldn't change anything. There was no point in dwelling in it. He found out information because right after that, he gave away one of the cats, the Maine Coon. He gave it to his parents. And he started doing things like he closed his social media accounts and things like that. So he knew, and he even had a conversation with his father about how he wanted his funeral. And we didn't actually get all these kind of pieces lined up until after he passed. But I wrote a whole piece on his day of passing and everything that happened, and it's called "The Worst Day Ever." And that's what it was. It was the worst day ever. To be a widow is the preferred outcome of marriage. To be a widow or a widower, that's a successful marriage. Technically, I had a successful marriage, and it sucked. That part of your soul, when it gets ripped out, when that person's gone, because that's what it feels like. It feels like you are being ripped apart from so deep in your core that that's the only way to say is that it's ripping apart your soul. And I understand that pain. And I know those that are still having to deal with pain like that and go through that kind of grief. And I know that it sucks. And I know that time is the only thing that can heal it. But I promise it will get better. It will get easier. It does get a little better every day. And what I do is I laugh. I laugh at the moments. Find joy within the middle of the day and find those little moments where you can just laugh. Because then it just gets easier to laugh more frequently. And that little taste of happiness that you get from that laughter is going to be healing to you. You need it.
Yes, that's
So
right.
I love to laugh.
Dang. Oh, I love your laugh, and I love to laugh with you. So much fun. And I definitely we will continue. We'll go on and do another podcast but I thank you for saying that of helping the women out there who may be at that point where they've lost somebody. I've been married, it'll be 46, 47 years this year, 47
Oh, it's
years.
the same age as me. I love it. It's kismet.
I can't imagine. I
You got
cannot.
married in 1979?
I did. We did. Yes.
Oh, what's the date?
November. I know you have a November, right?
I'm a November.
November 10th. November 10th.
Oh, I wanted mine to be 11/11 so bad.
Oh.
I chose 11/21 because 11 is my favorite number, one of my favorite numbers, and 21 is made up of two primes of 3 and 7. So I did it
Okay.
mathematically because I'm weird. I love math. But 47 years this year, that's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. And we have
Oh,
grown old together and kind of like your life. It hasn't been all peaches and cream, but it's where
right.
you make that decision like you said. You chose to unconditionally love your husband. And it's that unconditional love and the give and the take. And,
Mhm.
it's beautiful. And I cannot imagine what it would be like when one of us passes on and the other is left behind. But
It's
it's,
weird.
yeah. We may call you if we need you.
Yes, please do, because there's not a whole bunch of support groups out there for spouses after the marriage whenever you have to go
Wow.
through the death. I looked for
Okay.
them. I could not. I mean, I specifically looked for those dealing with the death of an addict and couldn't find
Hmm.
that. But there's not a lot of grief counseling stuff out there, and I'd love to go and talk to those people and be like,
Yeah.
I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
I have that psychology degree in me. So
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, we're really going to have to wrap this up, and
yes.
I wish that I could do longer recordings, but unfortunately, my podcast doesn't handle longer recordings. So, I
Mhm.
do want to thank you, Lynn, and we will be back. And those of you out there who want to hear more from Lynn, be sure to check in next week about that. But I do want to thank Lynn for being so open and sharing so real because that's what this is all about. That's what Under Heaven's all about is being honest and real and what it feels like.
Mhm.
So I thank you and I want to thank our listeners. And if you have any questions and would like to talk with Lynn, text her. How can they meet you? And I know you have programs, and that's what we're going to talk about next time. But
Yeah.
how would they reach you, Lynn?
Um, Honestly, start with an email. My email
Okay.
is lynnlevine@gmail.com.
Hmm.
I don't really talk on the social media platforms except for a certain one, just
Okay.
because, it can get overwhelming. So I would tell
Okay.
you, send me an email.
There you
If you
go.
want my attention specifically, send me an email.
There you go. And that's Lynn Levine at gmail.com.
Yeah.
So I will leave you today, my friends, with the remembering to speak life, choose hope, and know that you are always loved. Bye bye. Thank you, Lynn. Bye,
Bye. Thank
family.
you.
Thank you for being with us today on Under Heaven. I trust this conversation encouraged your heart and reminded you of God's faithfulness. If today's episode blessed you, please click like, subscribe, and share the hope with others. Until next time, blessings.